Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. And I wanted to start off real quick by introducing our group. I'm Beth Leipold with Workforce Integrations and the Manager of Strategic Partnerships. And we have Eric Leipold, who's the owner of Workforce Integrations and an enterprise architect, and Jeff Wiles from Cleveland Gear, who is their IT director. Is that correct, Jeff?
IT manager, director, whatever.
We'll make you the director today.
Okay.
So the reason that we wanted to pick your brain this morning, Jeff, is to share a little bit about your experience with system integration, enterprise integration, and how we've helped. So I wanted to start off by asking first, what were some of the pain points that Cleveland Gear was trying to solve, and how this all got started?
Okay. We have an old ERP system based on an I-Series AS400. We've had it here in place for a long time, and I went back and dug through some of the stuff, and it looks like around 2004, 2005, we wanted to integrate some of our ERP online availability pricing to some of our reps and distributors. And I didn't really want to put the AS400 online on the internet. I wanted to keep it behind our firewall because it's the old ERP system and it doesn't have, super robust security around external attacks. So I wanted to protect that and keep it behind the firewall. And I don't really remember how we got connected with Eric, but IBM was then starting to support the WebSphere web interfaces and internet browsers and internet servers on the I-Series, and they supported Geronimo, and we didn't want to. They were putting in the whole big IBM iSphere, real complicated systems on their I-Series that just was it was way more overkill than what we could afford or what we wanted to do. And so we started out with the JBoss and the Geronimo, and then went to JBoss. And we just wanted to hit the AS400 from the outside world to do some web services. And that's kind of how we got started.
Jeff, why don't you tell us just a little bit real quick about what Cleveland Gear does?
We've been in business over 100 years. We make industrial worms and gears. So a lot of steel processing, a lot of coal power processing. That's not as much anymore, but we're still doing some of that. And then all the coiler drives and uncoiler drives and reducer drives. So we have had a product that we've been in the market for over, I think, 107 years, something like that. It's over 100 years.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What were the pain points that you guys were trying to solve with the latest couple projects that we've done for you?
Well, we're trying to, like I said, we have an old ERP system, and we're trying to keep it around. And we have a lot of senior people here that have worked here for a long time, and they don't really want to change, but we want to modernize some of the stuff around this ERP system. So we switched to the MuleSoft and the API development, and that to me has streamlined a lot of the stuff. We have one place that maintains all the interfaces to the I-Series, that where is a lot of our data set. We have invoices that we're generating on the I-Series, and Eric developed an API that we could go and grab all the pertinent information about an invoice, and we put in on base. So we wanted to modernize some of our processes and put in some modern technology, but we still wanted to go and interface back with the old I-Series or the old ERP system.
What were some of the constraints that you were facing, either internally or externally, when you were trying to develop this project?
money's always money is always a problem. But I
We
mean,
hear
we
that a
didn't have
lot.
we didn't want I didn't want some huge overblown system. I didn't want to replace the I series. I wanted to put something in place so that if we ever do upgrade or replace the I series, we can still maintain that interface. We would just have to change out where we're going to get the data from. And I think that's very doable. Um, if we ever change out the I series. But we don't I don't have a big huge staff. Um, and we're doing a lot of this ourselves, and we get some help from Workhorse and from some of the on-base support. We get some there, and that's just we we have to kind of figure it out and be creative.
Right. We hear that a lot too. That's
Okay.
one of the things I actually like about my job is that we get to be creative and help you customers like you solve their issues.
Yeah.
Um, who's been involved with some of your projects internally and externally?
I guess I've kind of been the leader of it internally, but we're we've been trying to, our mentality inside is we have all this paper, so I've always tried to kind of figure out a way to get rid of some of the paper, and so our sales staff is always going to these file cabinets and getting paper out. So we've tried to interface with them and say, what all do you need? What's important here? And the accounting people are always, just invoices. We in the past had always all these paper invoices that accounting would have to print them out. They would keep a copy of them. They would give them to salespeople because they wanted their own copy of them, and then they would file them. And then they would always come back to us and say, "Well, we need to redo this invoice or reprint this invoice. Go find it." And and so we're trying to get rid of a lot of this paper.
Hmm.
And we've kind of done all that with the invoices are all now electronic, and everyone can go find them. And if you know some information about it, you can go search and find an invoice or find the customer or and then we've got all the sales orders that are coming in, um, that we're keeping electronically also.
Did you find that any of these steps you've taken have sped up the sales cycle, that you're able to invoice people quicker, customers quicker?
The invoice processing has gotten easier, because it's more electronic. We're still generating a ton of paper, but the shipping department just scans everything in, um, and transfers it, electronically to the accounting department, and they can go do the invoicing, and then sales can go get electronic copies of it. And that, we, the whole COVID stuff, that helped us a little bit because, we had people working from all over the places, and our shipping people could scan it in, and our accounting people could be anywhere. It didn't matter. They could Sometimes they work from home, sometimes they were here, but they could still do the same process from wherever they were at,
Yeah.
and that kind of helped a little bit.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think has made it easier for everybody to manage the virus and what it's done to our businesses is by
Hmm.
being, able to make those changes and allow some flexibility in what we do every day. So that's one good thing, I guess. Did it take more or less time than you thought it would to implement any of the projects?
um I think they always take a lot more time than what you think, but um some of the projects, it's like, kind of peeling back the onion. We start out with one little thing. It's like, well, then we can go do this, and we can go do this, and it keeps getting kind of more complex and more inclusive of some of the things that we're doing. And we've tried to kind of be strategic and pick out some of the you talk with customer, or our different departments, and say which ones of these I can get them to buy into it and embrace it. And so we try to start out with some of those that are the kind of the low hanging fruit, or the stuff that people will get behind
Right,
easily.
get excited about and
Yeah.
want to get on board. I know that one of the most recent projects we did involved the on base, as you mentioned, and Planet Press.
Yes.
So I don't know if you and Eric wanted to share a little bit about how that all worked and what it did to help out Cleveland Gear.
Well, I mean, Eric can talk on this, but we have kind of the infrastructure now with the MuleSoft server and Eric's expertise, and he knows kind of our system, and we have the interface into to our AS400 or I series, and now it's a lot simpler just to go. All we have to do is tell Eric, here's the data I want, here's where it's at, and it's not difficult to go build another API or web interface to go grab the next piece of data. So we have the infrastructure in place, and and it's it's there, and it works, you know.
It's like
Yeah, and I
magic.
I think the process from the Mule side, there's only one Mule application, which is really nice. So it keeps it fairly simple. But we have, I mean, ETL processes with files and batch processes with transferring data and things like that. Then we also have some API led processes as well for Planet Press and on base well, the sugar processes are all ETL, I think, at least for now. But yeah, it's not an extremely complicated setup in Mule, and we've been able to keep it to one application, so it's fairly easy to manage on that side.
You know, one of the things I should have asked earlier was what version of Mule are you using, Jeff?
We're using the community edition.
And we upgraded from 4.2 to 4.3 recently, so
Okay,
um,
so and the community edition is the open,
open
no
source,
cost
right?
one. Right,
Right.
right.
And I, we look to you guys to support that. If we don't have, I don't have enough expertise to keep that running as efficiently as it is. It doesn't require a ton of work. At least I don't see it requiring a ton of work because Eric's
Eric's
takes
pulling his hair out now.
Eric taking care of it.
Well,
Um,
other than the monitoring, the issue that we've had with monitoring, but we solved that one as well. So
and it runs. I mean, we don't have a lot of problems with it. It just sits there and does its job, and that's what we like about it.
That's that's our goal, is to make it as seamless and easy as possible for you and our other customers. Um, do you have any advice for other companies thinking about doing projects like this? Kind of a first steps or watch outs?
Um, I guess I, I start small, figure out something that will kind of excite the users to get them started and to do this stuff. Um, our users don't really appreciate or understand the complexity of what we're doing. All they want to do is see the end results, and that's kind of difficult sometimes to they don't care about how, just make it happen, and
Right.
that's always a challenge sometimes. But we try to pick out some users that are open and ready to for some change and to modernization, and that's kind of where we go first.
Sounds like a good plan. Seems to be working.
And then sometimes we get forced into things that we have to, we
Right.
our corporate said we're going to change out our payroll system, we're going to outsource it all to a third party provider. Now go do it. So, that was one of the other projects where we went and we it really wasn't our decision to go do that, but we needed to transfer data back and forth to this third party payroll processor with our local data. And we did that again with the MuleSoft stuff.
Very good. Well, that's kind of all we had for this morning. And I didn't want to keep you too long. And I hope I hope you got something out of it. I know we did. We enjoyed talking to you. We enjoy working with you. And I didn't even realize it had been 17 years myself. So I think the older you get, the time just goes so much
It-
faster.
It does fly.
It does. So thanks again for your time, Jeff. And I'm sure we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
guys for
you.
all the support.
Hmm.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.